Bo body. Bo body.
All right, and we are live here on Dimed Out. Yeah. So we're gonna get started in just a minute properly, and it's gonna be all very casual. It really is nothing too centered or focused really about this. It's more a sort of casual, sort of catch up with what has been out this week, what we've got coming out this following week, and then more importantly, I suppose if there is a sort of central focus or a nucleus to this, it'll be what is coming out the week after, which is the end of our first season. But first and foremost, we are live on Instagram, as long as my phone holds out, because I always feel like the people on Instagram kind of miss out on some of these. I say miss out, I don't know how much you're missing out on, but we're doing it live via Instagram for as long as my phone will hold up at the moment. And we are, of course, doing it live through Twitch, which is the primary platform that we do the live streams on. If you are not on Twitch or you just don't want to affiliate yourself with that, that's no problem, because we are also pinging to you live through Periscope on Twitter and on Facebook, all through the power of Restream, which is pretty cool. I don't know if there are other platforms out there that redirect streams and allow you to do multiple streams from one source, but Restream has been pretty good and has treated these pretty well. A lot better than just doing single streams. It's good. It's good to have outreach and platforms and options. So yeah, however you're watching this, whether you're watching this on your phone in portrait mode on Instagram, or you're watching it on a desktop, I don't know, or maybe on your TV, I don't know, then welcome. If you are joining Dimed Out for the first time, my name is Matt Foster. Dimed Out is a podcast that usually takes its main bulk of form in audio content through episodes we release each week on a Thursday. Thursday is new release day. Yay. Or as we like to call it, Thursday. Actually, no one's calling it that. Let's not make that a thing. So yeah, it comes out once a week, the main podcast. We occasionally do, I say occasionally do bonus streams like this, which get thrown into the canon, I guess, of what we talk about. Usually it takes the form of a topic that has emerged on the main show, and then we kind of extrapolate or expand upon that. But yeah, if you are joining us for the first time, whether it is live or if it is in the archived version on Twitch and YouTube, which we're also streaming to as well, then welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out of your Sunday to do this, to spend a little bit of time with us. It is very much appreciated. The chat is open, so if you are watching live and you want to jump in and say hi and leave comments or feedback or what have you, then please do feel free to do so. That is there for you to use if you so wish. Likewise, the chat thing on Instagram is always open, so if you're on there and you want to drop in a comment, request, feedback, anything you want to say, within reason, then use that as well. I will try and keep an eye on it, as I will also try and keep an eye on the main chat box. But yeah, we are here live. The main bulk of the show, if you've never watched it before or heard it before, considering I've just said it does take the form of audio as its main source, is a lot of things. I started it back in March. Did I? I don't even know. That's the thing. That's where we're at the minute with time and space. I don't even know when I started this. No, it was May. It was May that I started it. Close. And the idea being that it wanted to be a sort of personal journal of sorts, similar to other things that I've done in the past, like Ramble On, which some of you may be familiar with. And yeah, I wanted it to be that, but I wanted it to be more than that. I wanted it to be an opportunity for me to dive into all sorts of different territories, into areas where I've had an interest for some time, areas that I know a little bit about, and areas that I know nothing about. So yeah, it's still taking its shape, it's still forming an identity of sorts, and we are coming close to the end of season 1, which is what this is pretty much geared around, as I said before. But yeah, it's been good. It's been a real good opportunity to dig into lots of different interesting categories and areas. It's become somewhat of a anthropological exploration, is how I would describe it, because we talk a lot about human beings, the essence of being a human, parts of the human experience, things we go through, things we experience, things we learn, whether that be instantaneously or through time, different parts of the human existence, different cultures and lifestyles and ideas, beliefs, theologies, ideologies, and yeah, it's been very interesting so far, and there's a lot more on the way in season 2. But we are, as I said, about to finish up the first season, and it's coming to a pretty rapid close. So the idea that I have for, as I say, the end is, well, we'll get into that in a minute. But last week's episode, if you are unfamiliar, was all about dreams. I have talked about it quite a bit this week on social media, particularly with Instagram. Had some interesting conversations with other people that have been keeping dream journals and that are into dream interpretations, finding out some of the stuff they've learnt, some of the stuff that they've been dreaming of at night has been interesting, and realising just how much actual curiosity there is towards this has been really, really cool to sort of see and dig into a little bit. Something that I think I am going to dig into a little bit more, that alongside lucid dreaming, which I have tried when I was younger, when I first heard of lucid dreaming, but I just couldn't do it. Not saying that I can now, I don't know, but I feel like maybe I wasn't in the right place to even attempt it back then. So maybe that's something for the future, maybe that is something for season 2. So yeah, this week's episode all about dreams, going through 5 different dreams in my dream journal, which was interesting and fun. And yeah, lots of stuff. So if you are interested in dreams, the human subconscious, the psychology of sleep, or you just have any sort of wandering interest in that particular area or things affiliated with that, then it's definitely one to check out for sure. This coming week, we are, of course, jumping into Halloween week. So, you know, what else would I be talking about other than horror movies for Halloween, and spoopy stuff. What else? So this week we have a guest. It is back to the guest format, and it's somebody I've known for a long time and have always kind of known to be a horror aficionado, someone whose taste has always kind of shone through and for the most part aligned with a lot of stuff that I like, and who's just very knowledgeable and passionate about it. And we've touched upon this with previous episodes, whether that is with James for the transhumanist one, with Rachel for her eco consultancy business, or if it was with Scott from Living Adaptive. One thing we've touched upon specifically lately with those guests in particular are people that have a genuine, sincere, passionate interest in something and are throwing themselves into it. And yeah, Joe is very much not only like super highly knowledgeable about horror as a genre, but he loves it, and you can tell. And I think you'll get that from the conversation when you listen to it. It's been a fun episode to put together because I have made it a little bit more polished. The production is a little bit more higher standard, not just in terms of mastering, mixing, EQ and such, but just background layers, ambience. Some of the music, the incidental music that I've made for this episode has been really fun. I've tried to make it spooky in certain places. Not too terrifying in case you're listening to it at night, but, spooky enough to kind of maybe put you a little bit more on edge than you would do with another episode. So, yeah, enjoy doing that. And then as extra, we're doing a bonus podcast. There's about an additional 30 minutes of material, 10 minutes of which is from the conversation with Joe that I just could not fit into the regular episode. So I wanted to include it somewhere, somehow. So we spilled it over into a bonus show. So yeah, we've got that 10 minutes of me talking to Joe about different locations, famous iconic landmarks within TV and movie history, and about their real life counterparts and visiting them. and sort of documenting them and taking them off a list. It's really fascinating. At least I think it is. Maybe it's just the inner film nerd in me, which is also just very much an outer film nerd. Just really enjoyed that conversation and felt like it had to be thrown in, especially because we talk about specific locations and landmarks within the horror film genre. In particular, the Strode House from Halloween is one of them. But yeah, that is definitely worth checking out as well. Plus, on the topic of spooky locations, as an extra little treat in the bonus podcast, I pull up a couple of notorious and infamous spooky locations that exist in real life that either have some kind of creepy folklore to them or some actual pretty brutal history to them as well. So if you kind of like that end of things, going back to the episode with Andy, if you like true crime stuff, if you like spooky paranormal stuff, then maybe that part of the bonus show is going to be for you and your interest. So yeah, it's a couple of little extras just because it's Halloween. I thought I would treat everybody, I guess. So that's what we've had. That's what we've got coming up next week. It's all very Halloween centric. But what about the following week? Well, it is going to be the end of the first season, as I've told you. And we're going to be doing some interesting things. Hopefully they're going to be interesting things. Because we are in the midst of very interesting times. And I'm using that as a substitute word for which you could replace with plenty. But we'll go with the very pedestrian and straightforward, inoffensive, interesting, because they are. It's a very curious, it's a very precarious time. We are, looking at a future that is very uncertain, not just with COVID, but especially here in the States on a political spectrum, on a changing political identity of a society and a nation. It's very much in a place of flux, and it's coming up to a boil at the minute, and yeah, it's been pretty ugly, it's been pretty nasty, and there's been a lot to sort of endure, not just in the last few weeks, but the last couple of years, and we're at a point where, yeah, it's pretty pivotal. It's at a point where, it could go one way, or it could go another. To be as generic and as inoffensive to either side as possible, I guess. So yeah, we're doing the first of 2 parts to finish this first season of Dime Down, which we're calling State of the Union. State of the Union Part 1 is going to be done in this format next week. So next Sunday, we are going to be doing a live stream. I'm going to be talking about some of the I Cannot Vote, which is an aggravation to me. It's unfortunate. I understand why. I've been in the country less than 2 years. I'm not allowed to vote, and I get that. I do fully understand and comprehend with that, but it is kind of frustrating, when you live in a country that you don't have much say in the way that it's going to go. But yeah, so I'm going to be talking about that a little bit. I'm going to be talking about some of the issues that interest me from a political standpoint. But I want to hear from you. This is, for me, the most important part of State of the Union Part 1. The live stream we're going to be doing next Sunday is that I want to hear from you what issues concern you the most when it comes to the ballot. Not just for this election, but in general. Like, what is it that speaks to you as a citizen, somebody who is eligible to vote? What is it that you are looking at when it comes to putting your marks in the boxes down the ballot? Is it climate? Is it economy? Is it race relations? Is it local business? What is it like? There's so many different areas to dig into, and I don't really want it to be a huge deep dive, but I do kind of want to give you guys a chance to sort of talk about the things that interest you, the things that are important to you, the things that matter to you, how those have been affected the last few years, and how you hope they are going to be looking by the time we start next year, in what direction it's going to be heading. Because it's not going to be instantaneous, we all know this. Whatever way it goes, whatever happens, any changes are not going to be instantaneous. They never are with politics. They never are with a lot of things. It takes time. There's a gestation period, and no one's expecting whoever wins to snap their fingers and have things just magically rearrange and reorganize themselves. It's going to take work and it's going to take time, but I want to know what issues you are interested in and what it is that you are looking forward to seeing sort of take shape, what the work is going to look like in terms of what affects you and what platforms you are more interested in. And just, use it as a venting post, I guess, if you've had enough of the last couple of years and you want to get that off your chest in a format, in a forum, then this is the place for you. If you're optimistic for what's coming in the next few years, likewise, even more so, really, even more so. What is it that you're looking forward to? What is it that you were hoping to see when election time comes around again in 4 years? What do you hope to have seen change? What do we need to change? What needs to be different? So yeah, I very much want it to be not just me talking about me and the things that concern me, but I want it to be about you. I want it to be a forum, a platform for you guys to talk openly as you feel comfortable to do so, about the things that are important to you, the things that matter, the things that are part of the constitution of your life and your loved one's existence, so that's what we're going to be doing next week. And basically the podcast is going to be the audio taken from that. So, easier for me in terms of editing, but I think, considering the live streams have been a good sort of supplement to the first season, it's a good way to sort of tie things together a little bit by doing a live stream and making that the podcast. And again, shifting the spotlight away from me or from certain areas of interest and placing it on you guys and, what you've been going through, what it's been like, and what you hope will arise on the other side of the final count. So yeah, that's going to be State of the Union Part 1. It's going to be live streamed. I'm not entirely sure what time I'm going to do it at yet. It may be a little bit later in the evening. But yeah, keep an eye on social media and such for final details. But it will be next Sunday, and then the podcast will be available at some point on the Monday, just before Election Day. And speaking of Election Day, it's going to be a busy week next week, because on Election Day, I understand it is a stressful time. I understand it is a time of flux. It is a time of readjustment, of possible great change, of possible bad change. It's going to be stressful, and it's going to be a sort of albatross around a lot of people on that day, especially if you are going to vote in person, which if you are, please do take all the safety precautions you can and that are available. First and foremost, look after yourself. It is highly important to put your voice towards the vote, but it's even more important to look after yourself. So if you are going to vote on voting day, make sure you are looking after yourself. But yeah, it's going to be stressful, whatever happens, whether you put in an early ballot, whether you've voted by mail, whether you're going in person, then yeah, it's going to be stressful. Hello to Armando, by the way, who just jumped in on the live stream on Instagram. Armando, I think this may crash in just a minute. It does seem serious, because it is serious. But we're going to try and lift it up in a little bit. The reason that I'm talking about what I'm talking about, or getting around to talking about, is because it is serious. People are going to be stressed, they're going to be anxious, and what I want to do is on election day, I want to sort of provide a distraction, or at least something to kind of move their attention away from just solely focusing on that, because we've all done enough doom scrolling this year to last us a lifetime. So I'm going to be doing a live music set on election night, and it's going to be pretty, I don't know how long, I don't want to commit to any amount of time, but it's going to be a bit longer than the ones I've done in the past. And the reason it is going to be called Dubbed Out, which is what we're referring to it is because it is going to be mainly a mix of dancehall, reggae, jungle, drum and bass, reggaeton, all sorts of good stuff. As it's a little tie back to something stupid I did earlier this year, where I made a drum and bass mix taking samples from what was that tiger thing that was on Netflix? Tiger King, is that what it was called, with Joe Exotic and Carol Baskins? Hello, Pamela, on Instagram as well. I took a bunch of samples from Carol Baskins and Joe Exotic and that show. I didn't watch that show because, you know, I just don't have time for anyone that's going to be cruel to any animals and what have you. But I found like a best of compilation and just took some random clips and mixed it in with some drum and bass, jungle, dancehall, reggaeton, and all kinds of different sort of West Indies based music. And yeah, it made absolutely no sense whatsoever, but it was funny, at least to me, and it was a pretty decent mix. I threw it up on SoundCloud and it did pretty well. I don't have exact numbers at the minute. Let's have a quick look. You know, I don't want to brag or anything, but it did alright. It was in the thousands last time I checked. But yeah, it was kind of ridiculous, it was kind of silly, but it was also kind of fun, and it really kind of helped me sort of reconnect with just plenty of great music of that ilk. So dub reggae, dub plate stuff, dancehall, drum and bass, jungle in particular, after reading Ghosts of My Life, really kind of got me back into jungle, early jungle and such, and what have you. So yeah, we're going to be doing it that way. It's going to be solely music of that ilk, of reggae nature and dub nature, hence dubbed out. So yeah, we're going to be doing that on election night, basically. So I'm not just watching the news, you're not just watching the news, worrying, stressing. It's just going to be a good energy and a good distraction. You know, you can have the news on in the background. We're not expecting a result the morning after or the night of, but yeah, it's going to come to something like a boiling point on that day, I think, for a lot of people. So yeah, we wanted to do that, a little something to sort of just move away from that and momentarily. I can't find the numbers for that silly mix, but it was fun to do, and yeah, and we're going to kind of go full circle with that, I guess. So yeah, next Sunday we're going to be doing the first live podcast part for the finale, and then on the Tuesday night we're going to be doing Dubbed Out. Again, times for that and stuff have not been finalised, but when it has, I'll put that out for anybody that's wanting to jump in. Anybody in the UK and the surrounding area, it may be a little bit late, because again, that may be done a little bit later in the evening, but if you're up, if you can't get to sleep or what have you, it'll be there for you if you want to get your skank on. And that's what I'm wanting. I'm wanting it to be a complete distraction. I want people to just kind of detach a little bit, have a dance, grab your mum, grab your dad, grab your brother, your cousin, your sister, your uncle, your roommates, that person that you're not too sure about, but you know, you stuck with them for whatever reason. Whoever it is, whoever's in your vicinity, I want you to grab them and crank up the volume on your sound system, and we'll all have a good skank. So yeah, plenty of good dub bass stuff on the Tuesday of election night. So that's going to be happening. It's going to be fun. I can't say as a guarantee, but I am going to look into the possibility of making that a potential fundraiser for something like ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union. At some point, I definitely do want to do a fundraising stream for that charity. If you're unfamiliar with what they do and what they represent, do go check them out, aclu.org. Doing all sorts of good stuff, and the reason I want to do it for that charity is because they are doing great work. Their focus is of a pure hearted place, and whatever happens after the election, whatever result we get, they are still going to be working. They're still going to be striving towards making the changes we need to be heading towards. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be doing it for this. It may be a little bit too short notice to learn how you set a charity drive up on Twitch. But yeah, maybe. We'll see. But I'm not holding myself completely accountable for it for this one. But at some point, if not for that, at some point, definitely in season 2, we're going to do like a fundraiser music set of sorts. Maybe a complete total request thing. That would be kind of fun. Just have people dictate the music. So God knows where that would go. But yeah, that may be happening. But Dubbed Out is definitely going to be happening. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, just a good way to detach from all the madness of the carnival that's in town right now. And you know, just good energy, good vibes, and give us all something to sort of latch on to for a little bit. So yeah, dubbed out next Tuesday on election night. A lot of fun, a lot of great music, which I need to start compiling now. I have ideas, but I need to start putting that together right now. If you've got suggestions, by the way, if you're into dub music, if you're into jungle, reggae, reggaeton, dancehall, ragga step, you want to go one step further, go a little bit harsher with the bass and the drums, let me know. Daggering, completely up to you and who you live with. I'm not responsible for that. But skanking, for sure, everybody I want to see dancing when we do Dubbed Out next Tuesday. Sorry, a week on Tuesday. Other than that, the last bit of season 1 even, whoa, I'm getting way ahead of myself. The last part of season 1 is going to be State of the Union Part 2. And that is going to take place after the results are in. And I do not know the content for that show yet at all, which is very liberating because I'm not having to prepare anything, and it's just going to be throwing myself into a situation and sort of reflecting on what is happening. But at the same time, it's also kind of terrifying for the reasons just mentioned above. But yeah, that is going to happen. Hopefully we'll know before Thursday, and we can kind of line it up with the Thursday weekly release we've done throughout the rest of the first season. If not, then it'll just happen when it happens, I guess. And I'll take a moment to kind of sit and reflect on it. And that one is just going to be a regular recorded one. But again, no idea what the content's going to be. So, yeah, kind of fun, hopefully. But kind of scary because we don't know what the hell is going to happen. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything that this live stream was to cover. So Dream Journal stuff from this week, if you haven't checked it out, do so. A lot of interesting stuff, especially if you've ever wondered what even like the inside of my brain looks like, even just a little bit. It's a good insight into me and my subconscious, I guess. And it's definitely something I'm going to be keeping up with. So yeah, you can maybe expect another Dream Journal episode in season 2. And what else? Yeah, State of the Union Part 1, the first of 2 parts to finish the season, is going to be happening next week. And that revolves mainly around you guys. So yeah, I want you guys involved. It's going to be a live stream like this. Again, don't know the time just yet, but when I do, I will let you know as soon as possible. And yeah, I want to know what it is that you are looking at your ballot. What issues, what policies, what areas, what strands of economics and politics are you looking at when voting? Not just in this, specifically for this election, but in general. Like, what are the interests of yours that matter when it comes to putting your mark on the ballot? And what's it been like? I've lived here just under 2 years, but there have been people who've been here for the full extent. Yeah, which, my heart goes out to them. But yeah, I want it to be an open platform, an open forum for you guys to talk about all of the stuff that's been going on with this particular election, but, what we've got to look forward to, hopefully, afterwards. So yeah, very much revolves around you guys. So that's going to be happening next week on election night, as I just mentioned a little bit ago. We're going to be doing Dubbed Out. It's going to be just straight fire when it comes to music, and just good energy and good vibes. And yeah, just a laid back approach and some good tunes with some good company, and hopefully some good news to follow in the hours, days, what have you, afterwards. And then we're finishing the season with State of the Union Part 2, which could be a huge street party of a celebration, or it could be, I don't even want to know what it could be. Anyway, that's how it's going to go. Yeah, it's been really fun doing this season. It's been pretty hard work at points. We are getting some bots in the chat. Sorry, I'm just getting slightly distracted there. Want to become famous by followers, primes? Nah, son, you're good. I'm alright. Don't need your help there. But yeah, it's been an interesting learning curve, or relearning curve in some aspects with doing this. But I've really enjoyed it, and hopefully, if you've been listening to even just a little bit of the first season, you've enjoyed it as well. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to post all the details of stuff that I've talked about on the social media channels. So yeah, as we get more and more defined times for these events, yeah, you'll be hearing about it for sure. But yeah, otherwise I'm going to go. That's going to be it for this. It was just a little, hey, how everyone is doing, and here's what's happening. So hopefully you are doing good. You're enjoying the rest of your weekend. And yeah, that's been it. Thank you for watching, whether it was on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, or wherever the hell else we're streaming this to. I hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, some good stuff coming up in the next week and a bit. Quite a blitz of stuff, but you know, hopefully it's all going to be content that you can sort of click with and connect with on some level and get involved with. So yeah, other than that, I'm off to finish the rest of my coffee, and you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will speak to you all very soon, if I can know which way to knock